ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So we'll just read the invocation mantra. Satchitananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedhyaya Gurave Buddha Sakshine Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvaloka Hiteratam Vedabcha Bhaskaram Bande Shamadinilayam Munim Sahasramurtam Puruchastamasya Sahasranetra Nabadapahoho Sahasramnam Stavanam Prashastam Niruchyate Janma Jaradishante. So we'll just read the first few mantras. Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Vyasam Vashishta Naptaram Shaktei Pautramakalmasham Parasharatvajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanidaye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane Sadhaika Rupa Rupaya Vishnave Sarvajishnave Yasya Smarana Matrena Janma Samsara Bandhanat Vimuchyate Namastasmai Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. Om Namo Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. Sri Vaishampayana Uvacha Shutva Dharmana Sheshena Pavanami Cha Sarvashaha Yudhishthirashantanavam Punarevabhyabhashatha. Yudhishthir Uvacha Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kim Vapyekam Parayanam Stuvantakam Kamarchanta Prapyur Manava Shubham. So we were up to this Kimekam Daivatam Loke. So I think we saw this, but I think we'll go through this again. So Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kim Vapyekam Parayanam Stuvantaha kam archantaha prapnyur manava shubham. So here there are 6 questions asked by Yudhishthira. First question is Kimekam Devatam Lokaha. So who is that Lord or Ekaha? Kim Ekam Devataha. So who is one Lord which is known in the lokas? Now he doesn't ask what loka is. We'll have to conclude what loka is and give you an explanation of what it means. Then Kim Vap Ekam Parayanam. So Kim Vapi Ekam Parayanam means who is the one who is supposed to be praised? Who is the one who is supposed to be praised in this loka? Then Kam Stuvantaha. So Stutihi, Stuvantaha or Stutihi. Who is the one who should be chanted or who should be, the exalted person who is to be talked about in this loka? So, and Kam archantaha. So who is the person who should we offer our oblations or to the prayers? So who is the Bhagavan? How he has to be praised? How we should praise him? And what offering we should make? Valid questions. Because if we know the answer for this, then it becomes easier. But sometimes we worship so many other things. We worship politicians, we worship film stars. Some people build temple for Kushbu, some people build temple for other people. So they are all, deluded people who are, for them the Bhagavan is something different other than what Vishnu is here. Here the question is asked not by somebody who is a Jnani. See, a Jnani is a person who does not know. Yudhishthira is called, he knows Dharma very well. So when Yudhishthira itself is confused, you can imagine like what other people will have. He is supposed to be knowing the truth. And he says to Bhishma, now tell me, according to you, who is the one to be praised? So, kim ekam devatam lokaha. So, lokam here means not a physical lokaha. The lokam here talks about the knowledge areas. So, knowledge areas. So, as you know, our Vedanta Shastram is very, very big and very vast. We have more than 10,000 different texts running into millions of lines. Bhashyam, then Tika, then all these things are there. So it is just impossible for someone to learn everything. And this Bhagavan, which is talked about, is mentioned in all the texts. So which is that text or which is where we should look for it? So we have got 4 Vedas. So Rig Vedaha, Yajur Vedaha, Sama Vedaha, Atharva Vedaha. So 4 big Vedas are there. So these Vedas comprise all the information which is required. Then the Vedas himself has got 6 Angaha or 6 parts. So 6 Angaha. What are those? Sikshaha first. You can note it down because it's not available in the textbook. So if you are making notes, you make it down. Sikshaha means it is focused on the Sanskrit alphabet, accent, stress, melody, and rules of combination during a chanting. Sikshambya akya syamaha varnaswaraha. So in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a text called Sikshavallihi. So Sikshavallihi talks about the first opening sentence is Siksham Vyakya Syamaha. So how I am going to give Vyakyanam or how the Siksha to take place, how the chanting to take place. What are the rules of chanting? What is the Swara? So there the Swara is given more importance. In the Bhagavad Gita, Swara is not that important, it is a flat meter. So you got Anushtup, Trishtup. So you got Anushtup means 2 meter and Trishtup means the 3rd meter. Whereas in the Sikshavalli, which is talked about here, the Sikshaha, the importance is given for phonetics, for Sanskrit, the correct pronunciation. That is why you must not learn from any textbook or recording just like that. It is available, all recordings are available in YouTube. But the YouTube cannot correct your understanding. You cannot go and ask the YouTube, please correct my spelling also. So you should learn from a qualified teacher first. After that, when you mastered it, then you can go and refer to YouTube, you can perfect or you can listen to that. But it is always recommended that anything you do, you always go with a teacher who is qualified and who is in Sampradaya. So it's called Sikshaha. Second is called Vyakaranam. Vyakaranam means grammar. So we have Sanskrit grammar. So how the words has to be used, how the words has to be joined, Sandhi, Visargaha, all those things are there. So the grammar rules are quite specific, and you cannot just mix them as they want. So Vyakaranam. Then Jyotisham. So Jyotisham means the auspicious time for rituals. So we will refer to Panchangam or Panchankaha. So we always refer to Jyotisham for the stars, the position of the stars, the particular time for doing rituals also. So you cannot do rituals or you cannot think about the Bhagavan whenever you want. Especially when you are in the Saguna Brahma Upasanam, where when you are worshipping the Bhagavan as a Murti or as an image. So there is a particular time. You cannot say that I'm chanting Sahasranama while taking shower. You cannot say that I'm in the bathroom doing some work, cleaning toilet, etc. I'm doing Sahasranama chanting. No, it is not allowed. Because it is a prayer to the Bhagavan. So you have to have chastity, you should have purity in thought and also in the body also. So you must take bath in the morning and you must have a particular time when you chant this mantra systematically, or it can be in the evening also, but when lighting a lamp you can do that. But it should be at a particular time. So the Jyotisham talks about the rituals, ritualistic time. See, the question asked is what? Where can I find the Bhagavan? Kim ekam daivatam lokaha. So, can I find the Bhagavan in the Jyotisham? Can I find the Bhagavan in the 4 Vedas? Can I find him in the Siksha Valli or Siksha, this one there? Or I can find him in Niruptaha. 4th is called Niruptaha. Or etymology. Etymology means it is based on the analysis of the language to give the proper meaning. So the context of the words. Example, if I say Atma, Vishnu can mean different in different contexts. So you have to use that particular word in the context only. You cannot expand or you cannot just assume things. Correct? It's called etymology. Then we have got 5th called Chandas, the poetic meter. Yes, Chandasam Vrishabho Vishwarupaha. So, yes, Chandasam Vrishabho Vishwarupaha. Right. So, the Chandas mean the meters. So, Anushtupu, Trishtupu, Jagati, Pankti, Chandamsi. Right. Gayatri, Ushnik, Dragati, Pankti, Trishtupu, Chandamsi. So, you got 6 different meters, correct? So, the meters are there. So, Chandamsi. Then 6th one is called Kalpaha. Kalpaha or ritual or instructions. So Kalpaha talks about ritual instructions. So what are the 6 Angas? Sikshaha, number 1. Vyakaranam, number 2. Jyotisham, number 3. Niruptaha or etymology, number 4. Number 5 is Chandas or the meters. And 6 is called Kalpaha. So the 6 Angas are part of the Vedas. So under the Vedas, you got all these things will be studied. Imagine. Then we have Itihasaha. Itihasaha means history. So Mahabharatam we have Ramayana, we got all Itihasa. They comment on that particular. So all history, past. But there is a place for that. Then we have Puranas. So Itihasaha, then Puranas. So we have Vishnu Puranam. We have Shiva Puranam, Kurma Puranam, Garuda Puranam. So Puranaha talks about a story. And the stories illustrate always some magical thing happening or some narration about something. So there also in the Shiva Purana, the Shiva Mahima is being talked about. The Vishnu Puranam, Vishnu is talked about these exact things. It's being extolled there. So Puranas. Then we have something called Mimamsaha. So Mimamsaha. So Mimamsa means the analytical view of any text. So if I have a text called Vishnu Sahasranama, like this text, I can talk about this text for next 5 years by analyzing different aspects of one word and comparing it with some other text. So there is Bhashyam available called Bhashyakara. So Bhashyam means somebody has written an elaborate commentary upon this particular text. So what we are seeing now is a literal meaning of the text. We are not looking at the Bhashyam or the elaborate meaning of the text. If you attend the Bhashyam class, which I do, you will see that the Bhashyam is very elaborate. Mantra is very small, but the Bhashyam is very elaborate. It talks about and brings together other aspects to explain or illustrate the meaning in a better format. So the Mimamsa talks about the Bhashyam, the Tika, all these things. So Tika is a commentary on the commentary. So there's a Bhashyam there, and the Tika is actually a commentary on the original commentary. So there is a person, there is a text called Sahasranama. Then there is a Bhashyam which is written on the text itself. Then somebody has taken a particular topic and there's a commented on the Bhashyam itself. So you got Pada Bhashyam. So the meaning of the word is there. And Vakya Bhashyam is there. So Vakya Bhashyam, sentence meaning. Then Pada Bhashyam talks about each of the words which is being illustrated, talks elaborately. So you can imagine that how complex our Vedas are there. And so many people have written, so many things written there. We are not even aware about anything at all. Right? So then we have Nyaya Shastraha. So Nyaya Shastraha means what? They talk about the logic. So everything is logically analyzed. See, Shastram, our culture has got a unique way of explaining everything in terms of the Vedas. So whatever answer you may or you want to know is already available in the Vedas. It is possible that we do not know it's a different thing, but because we don't know who God is, or who is Ishvara is, who are we? All these questions are already answered in the Vedas. You do not need any other text, you do not need to know any other things to look outside of this. All of them are encompassed in this whole thing called Vedas. So the Nyaya philosophy talks about the analysis of the particular text in terms of the Sankhya philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, Purvapaksha philosophy, Vaisheshika philosophy. So we've got different philosophies. Everybody has got their own view. Somebody will say there's no Bhagavan. I don't agree to this. Somebody will say that all this is all useless. And they will have their own view of presenting what it is right or wrong. So Vedanta Shastram uses their logic and negates them also. So we use the same logic and tell them that what you understand is not correct. Because all the philosophies which other than the Hindu philosophy we've got, the Advaitic philosophy, everything is based on some logic, some inference, some understanding they have about their own understanding. So somebody will say I'm an ethical person. So when I say ethical person, it means what? I have ethics. So they are governed by ethics. So if somebody is hurting me, I'll hurt him. This is my ethic. This is my philosophy. If somebody comes and fights with me, I will give it back to him. This is my ethics. So these are all, some people, some of them have got this unique philosophy which is applicable only for, they think it is right. And it is their own philosophy, their own understanding of what is right or wrong. It is not supported by any evidence. It is not governed by any Shastram. It is not governed by any Dharma also. Right? So these are also covered in this. But to counter that particular philosophy, we have Dharma Shastra. So we have, after Nyaya philosophy, we have Dharma Shastram as also part of the Vedas. So what do we have? We have 4 Vedas, 6 Angaha, Itihasa, Puranas, Mimamsaha, Nyayaha, and Dharma Shastra. So the question is, which of these loka? Kimekam Daivatam Loke. So the loka talks about not the physical place, he talks about the knowledge areas. So in which of these knowledge areas is this Bhagavan to be seen? So when you have such a voluminous text like this, how do we know where to see the Bhagavan? Should I read the grammar? Should I read the Itihasam? Should I do the pujas, rituals? Can I see the Bhagavan in this? So the answer is given by Bhishma later on. So Kimekam Daivatam Lokaha, Eka Loka. So one Bhagavan is present in all these things. And how do we search for the Bhagavan is the question answered given by this one. Then Kim Ekam Parayanam. So if at all he is present in these things, how he is to be praised? Can I chant only this? Can I do only this ritual? Right? So Parayanam means Para Ayanam. See that the Ayanam means destination, and Paraha means the achievement or the one with the Bhagavan. So Parayanam means that one to which you belong. So the word Narayana itself means Nara Ayanam. Or Naraha means human being, and Ayanam means the destination. So every human being finally has to merge with Narayana. And the only purpose of living this life is finally to understand this. All the things which you are studying, we are going to school, we are doing the college, studying university, degree, earning money, getting married, having children, and having all these things is finally to arrive at this truth called Narayana. So Narasya Ayanam iti Narayana. So every human being finally has to, if you just say Narayana, it is not enough. You must know what Narayana is. So Naraha Ayanam. Similarly, Paraha Ayanam. Right. So Parayanam. I mean, how do we arrive at this final thing called the Narayana or Para Ayanam? How is to be praised? Okay. So Stuvantaha, Kimvapekam Parayanam, then comes Stuvantaha. So how this Lord is to be praised, or which is the Lord to be praised, first of all. So you've got so many Lords there. You've got 33 crore Devatas and Devatas are there. And everybody is worshipping their own Devatas. So he is worshipping that is better or that is better. Somebody will say they are worshipping only, you only worship that Bhagavan. The Vaishnava will say that we do not go to Shaiva temple. A Shaivat will say that I will not go to Vaishnava temple. But for an Advaiti, there is no Shaivat, there is no Vaishnavite. There is only temple, there is only Bhagavan. So for a person who is not worried about the culture, is not worried about the religion, etc., is above everybody else, such a person is talked about here. Then come Archantaha. So Archantaha means you do Archana or you do oblation. So you offer flowers, you offer Vedic prayers. Some of them are in terms of mantra itself is a prayer. See mantra pushpam, they say Yopam pushpam vedha pushpavan prajavan pashuman bhavati. So there the mantra pushpam itself is a form of flower only. So the mantra itself is offered as pushpam. And traditionally what we do, we take flowers and keep it with us. At the conclusion of that particular mantra pushpam, then we offer it to the Bhagavan. So the mantra is chanted keeping the flower in hand, so that the power of the mantra is transferred into the flower, and the flower is offered as the mantra to the Bhagavan. Correct? So Archantaha. So who is the person who should offer and how the oblation should be made? From Archantaha. Then Prapyuhu manava shubham. So praptaha. So what is that by which a human being will benefit? Manava shubham. So prapyuhu manava shubham. So shubham means kalyanam, shubham means mangalam, and auspiciousness, bhadram, swasti. So one word, shubham, has got different meanings. Swasti. Swastina indro vidrashravaha. Swastinah pusha vishwavedaha. So swastihi. Then bhadram karne vishrunuyama devaha. So bhadram. Right? All these mantras are there. Right? And they are taught in different classes. So bhadram, swastihi, kalyanam. Right? So shubham, kurutvam, kalyanam, arogyam, dhanasampadam. Dhanasampadam. Shatru buddhi vinashaya deepaha jyoti namostute. So shubham. So shubham, kurutvam. Shubham also is there in mantra. So all these represent only one. So all of them represent the auspiciousness, or by doing any of these things, by knowing who the Bhagavan is, Vishnu is, by knowing how to praise him, how to offer prayers to him, and how many times you should do also, and by doing this, how this human being can achieve auspiciousness. Okay. So prapyuhu manava shubham. So he's asking not for him, he's asking for the benefit of the entire Manava society. Entire human race is asking this question. So knowing that by which mankind will be benefited. Correct? So if you know about something particular about you, only you will benefit. If you are a scientist and if you are working for the entire lokaha, it is for the benefit of the entire world. But if you do it only for yourself, it becomes personal agenda. Right? So global agenda should be there. Is it clear? That particular mantra is clear? Okay. Next, it again continues. So 6 questions are asked in the previous mantra. In this question also, you ask some other questions. So we'll see this. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam. Bhavatah paramo mataha. Bhavatah paramo mataha. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam. Bhavatah paramo mataha. Kim japan muchyate jantuhu. Kim japan muchyate jantuhu. Janma samsara bandhanat. Janma samsara bandhanat. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam. Bhavatah paramo mataha. Kim japan muchyate jantur. Janma samsara bandhanat. So, first question, ko dharmaha. So, what is the dharma? Or ko dharma sarva dharmana. So, what is the dharma which is superior to all other dharmas? So, sarva dharmana means what? Sarva means all. And dharmana means what? Of all the dharmas, which dharma is superior? Then, bhavataha paramo mataha. Then, kim japaha uchyate. So, what is to be chanted? Or what prayer should be said? Should I chant Vishnu Sahasranama? Should I chant Rudram? Should I chant Chamakam? Should I chant Mahanyasam? Or should I do something else? Lalita Sahasranama should do. Should I do that prayer or this prayer? So many prayers are there. So what is the prayer to be said? Kim japaha uchyate jantuhu. So Jantuhu means what? The people, we are all Jantus. So Jantu means the creature. So we are all creatures of the Bhagavan. So one of the creatures of the 840,000 species. So one creature, human is a creature also. And the human creature is endowed with a particular sixth sense. All the other creatures are not endowed with sixth sense. Aram Arivu. So the sixth sense allows you to question everything and identify everything else other than you. Correct? So you cannot know who you are, but you can tell everybody that you are this person. You can say, I am this person in terms of what you know. But in terms of 100% understanding who you are, you do not know. You only know to the extent of that you are a person of this name, this particular gotraha, kulaha, this particular physical structure, body, male, female, so and so height, belong to this family, that family, studying in so and so class, etc. You only know this. But beyond that, you do not know anything. There is something beyond that also, which is not known. But the Bhagavan has given intelligence for us to use that intelligence to know beyond that. So that is the purpose of the study of all these things. So, Kim Japaha Uchyate Jantuhu. So, knowing that by which Janma Samsara Bandhana. See, for animals, there is no samsara. You know what is samsara means? Samsara means this endless cycle of birth and death. You just keep on, you're born, you enjoy life, one day you die, again next time, next Janma, again you're born, again enjoy, again die. So this continues for a very long time without knowing why you are there. Somebody may argue saying that I'm not worried about this, sir, because I do not know whether I'll be born again or not, or if at all I'll be born as an amoeba, I do not know. I don't care. For such person, it is not required, because animal also has got the same instinct. Animal also does not care about what it is an animal or not, correct? Animal also has, gets up in the morning, goes to the pond for having water, then looks around for something to eat breakfast. So if you happen to be there, you will be the breakfast for the animal. Then after some time, it's all, lunch is served, it goes and plays with its mates, friends, everybody. Then enjoys, produces children, goes to sleep. Next day morning, breakfast, lunch, play, dinner, children become bigger, the old lion dies, the new lion, younger lion takes over the territory. This continues. So this is called samsara. So the lion animal doesn't have samsara because it does not know that's a lion. See, the animal cannot tell that I am a lion. You can tell that you are a lion, right? And you can tell that I am a human being also, right? So only we are endowed with the skill to distinguish every other object, including ourselves. So I am a human being. I am not a lion. You are a lion. You can see this. Or you are a tiger. You can see this. But a tiger cannot know that you are a human being or not. It only knows you that you are not from the species. That's all it knows. And it can't say that you are a human being. So if you come in front of the lion or a tiger and tell that, I am a Vishnu Bhaktaha, I chant every day Sahasranama, you leave me. Do you think it will leave you? It won't. Because he doesn't have the intellect to do this. He doesn't have anything called Punyam and Papam. It doesn't have anything like, right and wrong. It only knows what is right. It's a threat for you. If it sees threat for you, it will attack. And that is how it looks at it. But we are different. That's why Janma Samsara Bandhana. So the Bandhana means that how we are tied in this universe. We are connected with people. Emotionally, we are bound with our brothers, sisters, mother, father, husband, wife, teachers. So many things are there. Properties, objects of desire, everything is connected. So all these things are not physically bound, they are emotionally bound. So nobody is tied you with your hand physically. You are free to move about anywhere where you want. But wherever you go, you are bound by this emotional thing called the emotional attachment. And this is something which you cannot just leave it like this. You may say, I don't want to talk to somebody, and you can go to some other place, some other country. In Bahamas, you can go and sit there, or in some other place, you can sit there. But the mind which is there goes with you wherever you go. So even if you don't want it also, you still keep thinking about the person who is sitting there in some other place. You left the person physically behind, but you are still connected to the person mentally and emotionally. So you cannot shake it off. That is why he's saying here, Kim japaha uchyate jantuhu. So what is the prayer I should say? Or what should I do as a prayer by which jantuhu janma samsara bandhana. So this, I'll be free from the samsara. So the first question is, what ko dharmaha? So first of all, you should know what is dharma. So if you do not know what dharma is, then you will say, what dharma, dharma. You talk about. So you must know what dharma is. So I'm going to give you some rundown on what dharma is. You can again note it down. It is not available in the textbook. So different types of dharma we have. So sarva dharmanam parityagya mamekam sharanam rajha. So in the Bhagavad Gita, finally when Krishna tells Arjuna that I have taught you enough, then Arjuna asks a question, what should I do with this? He says, Arjuna, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam rajha. So sarva dharmaha. So leave all dharmas, including your own dharma, etc. Right, wrong, kshatriya, all this thing you leave. And mam ekam sharanam rajha. You come to me as only one, not the physical body, leaving your name, identity, etc. And you just come to me as just yourself. So if you don't know what dharma is, you will again be asking, ko dharma sarva dharmanam. So what dharma should I follow? So you must know what dharma is. So dharma is broadly, can you say, as the outline or the law. It's called the law and order of the Bhagavan. So there are rules and regulations for everything. You cannot just do whatever you want, because the consequences are different if you different things. So you already are aware about dharma. You already know what dharma is to some extent, but you will not know as to what are these type of dharmas. So I'll give you, because you got young students in the class, and I wanted to give them just an overview of what dharma is. So first we call Sanatana Dharmaha. So Sanatana Dharmaha is the first one. That means that dharma which has got no end or no beginning. So dharma which has been continuing for many generations, it has been there. So you cannot ask who had this dharma before and when this will end. As long as you are in this world, you have to follow dharma. Okay. So it is called Sanatana Dharmaha. So we always belong to Sanatana Dharmaha. So if you don't anything at all, you say we are followers of Sanatana Dharma. It is enough. It means what? It encompasses everything in the Dharma. Then under that, we have something called Samanya Dharmaha. Samanya Dharmaha. So there are, Samanya means what? Common laws, common universal laws. So it is something which everybody should follow, like speaking the truth, following the right thing, not hurting somebody. These are all common to every individual. You do not need to be told, because you do not like to be hurt by somebody, correct? So what is the fundamental thing? I do not want to be hurt by somebody. So this is my dharma. This is what I feel. So the same philosophy should also be applicable to other person also. So when you yourself don't want to be hurt by somebody, it is the dharma. That's what you want. The same philosophy, dharma also should be applicable to other person when you interact with the person. So this is called common dharma, samanya dharma. So not telling lies. So satyam vadha dharman chara, correct. Swadhyan ma pramadaha. So satyam vada, speak the truth. Dharmam chara, follow the dharma. See all these things are said in the Upanishad, Shastra. I keep bringing this because some people are studying Shastra with me in other classes. Some people are new. So I have to mix and make sure that they all have the understanding. So samanya dharma, it is a universal law common for everyone. So it does not say that I am above this. The human being means samanya dharma. Man, whoever it is, whichever it is, jati it is, the same applicable dharma. It is given by Ishvara to everybody. So this is the Bhagavan's law, samanya dharma. Then we have Vishesha dharma. So Vishesha dharma, that means specific dharma or specific laws to be followed by a particular section of the people. For example, Kshatriya dharma. Kshatriya dharma is to protect the people. Right? So that is their law. So if you are a Kshatriya, it means you are bound to protect the person. That is their law. You don't have to be told that I am a Kshatriya. So Kshatriya means a person who has got the capacity, who is strong and who can fight and who's got ability and he has been endowed with a particular skill. So he's called Kshatriya and he belongs to Kshatriya dharma. Then we got same Brahmana dharma. So if you're a Brahmana or if you're Brahmana itself is a very misnomer, a wrongly understood philosophy in generally. So just because you are born in a Brahmanic family or a Brahmana family, you are not a Brahmana. And just because you have done Upanayanam or you got thread, you are not a Brahmana. And just because you are studying some Shastram, you are not a Brahmana. Just because you are doing some ritual or chanting, you do not call a Brahmana. According to Shastram, a person or the Vedas, Brahma Jnana iti Brahmanaha, a person who understands what you are, who you are as a person. You're not a physical body, you're not the mind, you are something beyond this. And a person who understands this philosophy, this knowledge is called Brahmanaha. So Janmaniya Shudraha. So by birth, everybody is a Shudra. See, Shudra means don't think he's some dark person with a tooth hanging out and he's a very fat person and very ugly looking person. Shudra in Vedanta, in Shastra means a person who is an ignorant person. So when you are born, you are ignorant about the world. You do not know anything. So your father and mother is the one who teaches you this is what it is. So they are the one who is a guru. So Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. So Mata becomes the first guru. That is why when you do Upanayanam, you do first Abhivadaya to the mother only first. The first Diksha for Upanayanam is given by the mother only, not by the father. The father gives Brahmopadesham. But the Abhivadaya is done for the mother first because that is what Matru Devo Bhava. So the mother is the highest person in a society where respect is given. Then only Pitru comes. Because only through the mother only the father is known. Right? The mother is the one who tells, look, he's your father. That is how the child knows that you are the father. The child knows only the mother first. Okay? And it knows the touch, it knows the feeling. The moment the mother lifts the child, it immediately knows. It's connected. That is why. So Vaishya Dharma, then we got Vaishya Dharma or the Vanijyam or the commercial, the commerce, Vaishya Dharma. So Brahmana, then we got Vaishya or the person, not Vaishya, Vaishya. Okay? So Vaishyaha means the commerce or the people who do trading or business, called Vaishyaha. So Vaishya Dharmaha. So those people are responsible for generating money, generating income to support the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas and the Shudras. See this. See, in the olden days, the Varnashrama was done such a way that everybody did according to their job. The Brahmana will actually be studying Vedanta, Shastram, everything, etc. They will go and do free rituals and prayers, worship, etc. to the Vaishyas and also to the Kshatriyas. In return, what they will do is Kshatriyas will protect the Brahmanas from any problem. Somebody comes and attacks their house. A robber comes and attacks their house, or some land grabber comes and pays that you throw them out. The Kshatriya will come and say that you cannot, I will make sure that you don't do this. So Kshatriya gave the return back as protection to the Brahmanas for their knowledge of the Shastram, and they give this. The Vaishyas, what did they give? They give dhanam and dhanyam to the Brahmanas and go, etc., for them to flourish and to eat the living. So in the olden days, there was nothing like, everybody was living their life. It's all giving and taking. You give this, I'll give this to you. And it was all smooth. Now, everything is different. Kshatriya, Brahmana, everything is all mixed together. So nobody is following anything nowadays. It's a different thing. Some people don't follow any of this also. So the Shudraha is somebody who was supposed to be a person who was of service to the people. So because they do not have the skill for becoming Kshatriya, they cannot fight the war, they are not strong enough, they do not have the intellect to study something, they do not have the capacity to earn money also. No, I'm not interested in this. I'm happy to be serving you people. So what they used to do, they used to go and serve the Brahmana in their house by cleaning their house, cleaning their cows, running errands for them. Whatever Kshatriya does, whatever they want, they will give. So this is like the category of people who were of service to the three communities: Brahmana, Vaishyaha, and the Kshatriya, Shudraha. So the Varnashrama was done. Correct? And all of them had their dharmas. So the Shudra had their own dharma. Like you don't have to tell them. He knows he's going to Brahmana's house. He knows dharma. He will actually not do certain things. Brahmana will actually go to Vaishya. He will not do certain things. Everybody knows the dharma. So it's called Vishesha Dharma. So we all have our own dharmas and we follow our own anushtana. Vishesha Dharma. Then Kula Dharma. So we have Kulam Dharma. That means this is something your ancestors have given you. So you belong to a particular Kulam. So Kulam means like you have an ancestral dharma. Like this is what my forefathers are practicing. So whatever I practice may not be something which you want to practice, because your way of practicing will be different and has been told by the ancestors. So if you have been a Devi Bhaktaha in your tradition and you have been worshipping this for several generations, you will continue to do that. Overnight you cannot say that I will drop this, I'll do something else. Correct? See, in Navaratri also, some people have this golu, right? They keep the golu. Some people don't have it. Some people have Varalakshmi Vardam, some people don't have Varalakshmi Vardam. Why? Because it is depending on the kula. It's becoming the ancestral, how your mother and father were following, or how it has come from the tradition. So my mother-in-law is keeping golu, so I have got this. Because you got married into the particular kula. So even though you may not want to keep it, but it is the tradition of the husband and the family, so you have to keep it. So that is called Kula Dharma. So you're also governed by that Dharma. Then Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma, or the particular Dharma to be followed in Yuga. So we got 4 Yugas. Right? We got Krita Yuga, Satya Yuga. Then we got Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So the 4 Yugas are there. So we are in the Kali Yuga and we are in the 5023rd year of the Kali Yuga. we have got 460,000 years in the Kali Yuga. So if we have the strength, if we have the energy, and if you want to be reborn for the remaining 455,000 years, we can continue to be ignorant, we can continue not to be like this. But if you want to stop here, this Janma itself, then we can be more efficient and we can learn all these things. So the Kali Yuga. So what is relevant in the Kali Yuga has also been understood. See, in the Kali Yuga, it will be difficult for dharma to sustain, because according to the Bhagavatam, in Kali Yuga, there will be no law. There will be no respect for law. People will just disrespect law. They will mingle with other people. All the traditions will be all broken. People will no longer be interested in spirituality. So this is called Kali Yuga. So Kali, Talai Viruttha Adar. So this is called Kali. Kali means, that is how it means that the Kali Yuga itself is like this. So that is the end of the whole Yuga. So when the end of the Yuga comes, there will be an avatara will come. Yada yada hi dharmasya gidhane bhavati bharata. Abhyudhanam adharmasya, correct. So whenever the adharma is correct, to protect paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya chatushkrutam. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So to protect the people, the good people, I will be born again as the avatara in Yuga Yuga. Sambhavami yuge yuge. So the Yuga talks about that particular thing. That in every Yugam it will be like this. So you should know the Yuga Dharma, where, which Dharma. You cannot be living something which is followed in the olden days now. It is not practical. People will not follow it. You have to be practical to what Dharma is current now, and then Anushtanam should be done like this. No, my mami was like this before, my father-in-law was like this before, I will have Madi Acharam, etc. It is not possible, because you already come so far. And you are living among people who are, so you have to do what you can to an extent. So understanding dharma is important, understanding which yuga you are also is important. So Anushtanam has to be done according to that. It does not mean that, permission is given, so I'll just leave whatever I want. No. You follow to the extent what is practically possible and leave the rest. Bhagavan. Then we have Manushya Dharma. So you must know, first of all, above everything else, what is Manushya Dharma. You must know what is Manusha. So if you know to treat people as human being, that is the greatest Dharma. Manushya Dharma. Then under Manushya Dharma, you got Stri Dharma. So you must know as a Stri and a Purusha. So we got two. We do not have, in the olden days, we didn't have this transgender philosophy. There's something, now it is all come now. So there's only Purusha and Stri, because that is what was allowed in the olden days. Only two categories. So Stri Dharma, it means what the person who is Stri has to know what Dharma is. So if you are a Stri, if you do not know what Dharma is, then you will not be able to guide your husband in doing the right thing. Correct. Same way, Purusha Dharma also is there. So if your husband, if you do not know what Dharma is, then you would not be able to perform any rites for the family at all. You will be just living like whatever is there, I'll just do as it is. So both the people are required. That's why Sahadharma Charini may say, Sahadharmaha means when you are in Dharma, the husband and wife, they become Sahadharma Charini. So they follow Dharma together, they become together, and that is why Dharma is followed by husband and wife both. It is not just only wife's Dharma to follow Dharma. I'll only do puja, etc. Husband says I will not. You do what you want to do. According to Shastram, what it says? 100% of the Stri's papam, punyam, goes to Stri only. 50% of the Purusha's punyam goes to the Stri also. 100% of the papam doesn't touch the Stri. So 100% papam goes to the Purusha. 50% only punyam goes to the Purusha. So how much you got? If you don't do anything at all, what happens? See, that's why the Stree is protected there. So whatever the Stree does, 100% punyam is only for the person. He becomes more beneficial. Then whatever karma rituals the person is doing, the Purusha is doing, 50% of the punyam goes to the person. It's like the Vali fighting the other people. So whoever fights Vali, 50% of the power goes to Vali only. So if you are fighting with Ravana, Ravana's power will go to 50% go to Vali. He'll become more stronger. So he will not be defeated. So Stree Dharma has to be known. So we are not talking about, we are not going to talk about it. I'm just telling you. Stree Dharma, Manushya and Purusha Dharma. Correct? So if you're a husband or if you're a person, you should know Purusha Dharma. Then you must know Putra Dharma. If you are a son, you must know what is your dharma. What is dharma? The dharma in brief has to be that you have to respect your parents. You have to listen to them, not to speak ill about them. And always you should understand that they are always speaking for the benefit of you only, because the parents doesn't have anything else other than the interest of the children. They are 100% sacrifice people. They do not have anything. They're given everything. What else they can give you? They've given birth to you, they've given food to you, they have inculcated everything to you. Naturally, because of that, there is an association with them in terms of a welfare. And the welfare sometimes can be seen as a wrong thing. Oh, too much controlling, too much managing, etc. That is why Matru Devo Bhava says. Because first of all, you must worship your mother, then the father. So always the mothers is called Vedavak. So whatever the mother says is supposed to be implemented, because that is the way it was cultured like this. So the Putra Dharma has to be, you should know what Putra is and how we should be like this. How Rama was a Putra, correct? See this example. See, Rama was a Putra to his father and mother, correct? And how he respected the words of his father and mother. One word is said and I will just go. Correct? He didn't even question whether it is right or wrong. He said, it is your directive, it is your wish, I will fulfill it. So it's called Putra Dharma. In Kali Yuga, it is not possible. See, this is all written in Bhishma's time. This is the start of the Kali Yuga, 5,000 years before it started. So we are in the 5,023rd Yuga. So we have already been modified several times before, and it is may not follow anything. But since we are studying a text like this, I should tell you this. So, Putra Dharma. Then, Raja Dharma. So, if you are a king, you should know what Dharma is. So if you are a king, if you do not know what Dharma is, how will you protect your praja? So, the king at that time was supposed to be more knowledgeable than the praja, the Stree, the Purushaha, Putraha, and he was also conversant with Vishesha Dharma, Samanya Dharma. Because he knew all the dharmas, then only if some Brahmin comes, he knows what dharma should be applied to him. You must not insult the Brahmin. You must give dakshina to the Brahmin. You must not, say bad thing about the Brahmin. Kshatriya should be treated as Kshatriya. So the Raja used to know all these things. Otherwise, he was not a good king. Why do you think Raja Ram was a good king? Because he knew how to respect each of them. So that is why we have, in our history, we have a lot of great kings up there who are exalted rulers. They knew dharma better than anybody else. So Raja Dharma. So Raja Dharma means politician also is Raja Dharma. See, a politician or minister should know what dharma is for the minister. If a prime minister does not know what dharma is applicable for that particular, he doesn't know what the praja is, the benefit of it, how will he perform? Okay. So Raja Dharma. Then we have Praja Dharma. So Praja means the people like us. So if we are living in a government, in a country, we are got responsibilities to the government. So whatever the government says, we have to follow to the extent. We just cannot protest because I don't like this. Because the assumption is the government knows what it is good for the people, number one. Then you have trust in the government that what they are doing is good for them, so I'll follow. Because the government does not know or may not know the dharma in full, you have distrust in them, That is why the friction happens. In the olden days, Raja Dharma knew everything and they were protecting for the Praja. So they will not do anything for themselves. They will do anything for the Praja. They will go and disguise themselves. They'll find out what people are talking about them, and then they will change according to these things. They are doing these things. So Praja Dharma. Then we have two things called Pravritti Dharma. Pravritti Dharma, that means the dharma by which you follow Karma Yoga. Pravritti Dharma means Karma Yoga method. So we got Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So in the Bhagavad Gita we have Lokesmin Dhuvita Prokta Pura Prokta Mayanagaha Karma Yogena Yogena Sankhya Yogena Yogina. So Karma Yoga Yogena. So Loke Asmin Dhuvida Proktaha. So in this world there are two types of dharma being preached. Dhuvidaha. So, and how is it? Pura Prokta Mayanakaha. Before it was said. Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So Karma Yoga talks about Pravritti Margaha. So Pravritti Dharma. Then we have got Nivritti Dharma. So Pravritti Dharma and Nivritti Dharma. So Nivritti Dharma talks about Jnana Yoga, which is the path of knowledge, or the sannyasis follow that knowledge. The Karma Yoga are the people who are in Grahasthas. Like people are in the Grahastha Ashrama and they follow this particular path, and Karma Yoga will eventually lead you to Jnana Yoga. So through Karma Yoga you become a Jnani, and then from Jnanam you go there. It is not that you have Bhakti Yoga separate plus, then you got Sankhya Yoga separate path, then you got Ashtanga Yoga separate path, Kundalini Yoga separate path. People say like this, but no. All these are only instruments of knowledge or the vaya, pipe. So you go through all of them, ultimately you go to Nivritti Marga, Nivritti Dharma. So you must know what is Sannyasi Dharma. You must know what is Karma Yoga, your Dharma. Right? So Karma Yoga Dharma is different, big topic. So all I tried to give you was an introduction to Dharma. So the question, what question is, Ko Dharma Sarva Dharmana. So out of all the Dharmas, so Sarva Dharmana is not said here, correct? So Yudhishthira already knows, but we are not Yudhishthira, we are only ordinary people. So Yudhishthira is talking about Sarva Dharmana means what? We should know what Dharma is. So out of all these Dharmas which you are saying, which Dharma is preferred? So Ko Dharma Sarva Dharmanam Bhavataha Paramo Mataha. So Paramaha means what? Tell me that Dharma which is superior in all the Dharmas. Is it clear? So at least today you got an idea about what Dharma is. So many Dharmas you have got. And Dharma Shastram itself is an ocean. You can study for 10 years, still you can't master it. But we are not interested in studying all these things because we are enough to know that there is Dharma like this. And since you're studying Vishnu Sahasranama, the question asked is, out of all these dharmas which are mentioned in the Shastram and the person is supposed to be following, which dharma is supposed to be the most exalted dharma? Bhavataha paramo mataha. Mataha means what? What is your understanding? What is your understanding of which is the parama mataha? Paramo dharmaha. Okay. Then kim japaha uchyate jantuhu. So what is the prayer which the human being should do? So first of all, what dharma you should follow, and what is the shrestha dharma of everything? Second thing is, what is the prayer I should do for becoming free from this janma samsara? So these are the questions asked. 8 questions is asking. And the 8 questions becomes the text or the answer for the rest of the topics. So these 8 things are being talked about in the rest number of verses we have got there. Some of them are repetition, some of them are modification. I will not talk to you about, the next class will talk to you about some other aspects of the dharma, the dharma viruddha, or the opposite of dharma. Like whatever is not dharma is should be told, also told to you. Like I told you what dharma is, right? You know, Pitru dharma, Matru, you know, Raja dharma, etc. You know. But what is adharma also you should know. What you should not do also you should know. Then only you will know what that is. Oh, this is not dharma, that is dharma. Correct. So I'll talk to you next class about the Mahapatakaha. Or Mahapatakaha means, Patakam means those sins which one should never commit. There are some sins which are allowed to be committed and there is a pariharam or there is a cure for it. There are some things which are not allowed to commit, and if you commit, there is no recourse for it. You cannot recover, you cannot do anything, you can do it. You just have to suffer. So the Mahapatakaha talks about because we're talking about dharma, the Sahasranama text talks about the dharma viruddha also. Like what is not allowed in the dharma also you should know. Then only you will know the importance of dharma. If I just tell you this is dharma, then you will not know what is dharma, then I will tell you adharma also. So next class, I will cover the other aspects of dharma. Then we go into the Bhishma Vacha. Jagat Prabhum Deva Deva Anantam Purushottamam. So then it starts to talk about everything. Is it clear? Anyone has got any questions or anything you want to know?
So just wanted to ask how many dharmas are there that you told totally? I wrote 10.
Okay, I'll give you one. Sanatana Dharma. You wrote that? Sanatana Dharma?
Yes, sir.
Then Samanya Dharma?
Yes.
Yeah.
Vishesha Dharma?
Yes, sir.
Then Varnashra Dharma?
So can you repeat?
Varnashramaha. Kshatriya, Brahmanaha, Shudraha, Vaishyaha.
Varna.
Yeah. Okay.
Varna Ashramaha. Then Kula Dharmaha.
Kula Dharma.
Kula.
Kulam.
Yes, sir.
Then Yuga Dharmaha.
Yes, sir.
Then Manushya Dharma.
Bhavishya Dharma.
No, Manushyaha.
Manushya.
Manushya.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Done.
So under Manushyaha, you got Stri Dharma, Purusha Dharma, and Putra Dharma.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Then you got Raja Dharma.
Yes, sir.
Then Rashtra Dharma.
Yes, sir.
Praja Dharma.
Yes, sir.
Then Pravritti Dharma. So Pravritti Dharma you write as Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga.
Okay, sir.
And Nivritti Dharma is called Jnana Yoga.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are all the dharmas which is available in the Vedas. And all of them is talked about as Dharma Shastram. So the whole thing is called Dharma Shastra. So it's an entire text, entire compendium of books, which has run thousands of pages explaining all of them individually, elaborately about each of them. And this is in the Karma Kanda section. So we have got Karma Kanda, which is the most elaborate of these things. So the question asked is here, who is that, what is the dharma which is Shreshtaha of all the dharmas? Right? So there's a question. And what is the prayer which a human being should chant by which the person is free from all these things? Is it clear, Rohan?
Yes, sir.
Shadrij, is it clear to you?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Anyone has got any questions before we conclude the class? Okay. Either is everything understood or you are assimilating, that's what I'm understanding. But continue to be in the class and you will, not only will learn Sahasranama, you will learn a lot of other things which you have not come across before. That is the beauty of this, all this text. It is not available in any text, but the way of teaching, the Sampradaya method of style of teaching is something which we follow, and we give enough information for you to understand the context behind everything else. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste. Shubhratri to all of you. And for those people who are coming to the Gita class, we'll see you at 7:45.
Thank you, sir.